This is Sean. I'm in the shop today, and what I want to do is I want to build a shelf to go over top of my pegboard right there. And so I've had really good luck in the past building with this 1x1 16, I think it's 16 gauge steel tubing. And I've kind of moved from using 2x4s to build shelves to using 2x3s to build shelves to using steel. And so I've built a bunch of shelving with this stuff, and I'm gonna do some more today. So that's what I'm working on today. If you take a look over here, I just built this little caddy for my air compressor. If you take a look over here, I just built this little caddy for my air compressor, and this style of building where you're welding your tube together and making a big long frame like that is extremely strong, and I just haven't seen anybody really doing it. So I'm gonna try and do a video of this shelf build today. So we're right over there. I'm still working on getting my workspace together in here, and so I'm just gonna be using this old table and probably the floor to get going on this. Part of the reason I've been building a bunch of shelving with this 1x1 tubing is because I got a ton of it at the metal outlet place. They were like 12-foot drops, I think. And so I still have a few of those left, and what I want to do is do the whole length here, which is about 17 feet. And so I needed some more pieces, and so I had to go get some prime cuts. And what that means is I'm going to have my 17-foot piece that's going to be continuous the whole way. And for the outside angle, or for the outside corner, I'm going to miter it. So that's what I'm working on here at this little benchtop bandsaw. Now, I bought this recently off of Marketplace. It did not work, even though the guy said it worked. And it turns out it was the variable speed controller, so I just wired it directly. I bypassed this variable speed control, and it does work. So that was pretty cool. But this is nice for making miters. My shelf is going to be 16 inches wide, and it's basically going to be just a square piece with a piece of plywood on top. And so this is going to be my outside corner, so that'll be that corner right there. And so I mitered it. I want to try to make this look as good as possible. I enjoy welding, but I'm not the greatest at it, so I'm going to try to do a really nice job on these welds. But this one here is going to be inside, so that'll be hidden as well. So I need to take an inch off of that measurement right there. What I want to do now is cut a bunch of 14-inch cross members. So these are going to go in between my two pieces. Since this corner is going to be visible, I'm going to try to do a really nice weld on here. And so I'm going to grind a little bevel on each end to try to give myself some space to fill the weld in with. Yeah, here we go. Pretty good. Pretty good. I just got a call from a potential client. They bought a house 2 weeks ago after it hadn't rained in a long time, and the first rain, their basement's flooding. So it's very important to do a drainage assessment or drainage inspection when you buy a house. I hear it all the time. While I was at the metal scrap, or the metal place, while I was at the metal outlet place, I found this, I think this is 10 gauge by half inch square, and they had this stuff dirt cheap. And so I took the opportunity to use that as some of my reinforcing here. And so I got my spacing a little bit off because I forgot I had an 8-foot sheet of plywood, so 8 feet lands there, and then another 8 feet lands there. So those are both the full 1 inch by 1 inch square. And I just filled in with those half inch by half inch. I put 2 next to each other. So now I'm just gonna grind everything so my plywood fits nice and flat on there. What I've done in the past is use the same 1x1 tubing to make my support there. But since I've picked up so much of this half inch by half inch, that might look kind of cool right there. I think I'm gonna try it. I think I'm gonna use this half inch by half inch because it's just pulling down on it, so it should be plenty strong enough. Piece is just super long. Okay, that should give me my angles. I got my end piece on right here, and I started doing my math to equally space out my other supports. But do you all see a problem with equally spacing these? Okay, the problem is right there. So I need to land on a stud. So I marked out my studs and measured from the wall. So I'm 64 and 3/16 and 128 and 11/16. So what I want to do now is I want to mark those distances from that point right there, and then start building my other support brackets. So I need a support there, and then 100 and, what was it? Okay, 128 and 11/16, about right there, right there. Got my other two pieces cut. Look at how straight that bandsaw cuts. These things are just sitting here perfectly up and down, just fine. So those are where I want those supports, because they're going to hit a stud on the wall. So let me go ahead and get those welded in. Okay, I got all my 4 supports welded in, and so now I think I'm ready to give it a little bit of a touch-up grinding and the first coat of paint. Okay, I'm trying to paint only the exposed surfaces that you're going to see. So there's my first coat. I'm going to let that dry, and I'll be back out here in the morning. I cut down a piece of 3/8 plywood. This is pretty nice plywood. It's still sheathing, but it's a little bit nicer quality, and I'm going to use that for the shelf itself. Look at that. So very nice. That's a little bit better. I'm not thrilled about adding a bunch of weight to this thing, but I think it's going to be much easier to affix this down here on the floor than on up once it's up mounted on the wall. And so first thing I want to do is mark my center pieces and start screwing this down. I'm going to be using some 3/4 inch self-drilling Yeah, 3/4 inch self-tapping. These work really well. They've got like a large head that works really well for this plywood. I've used these quite a bit. Looks pretty good. Okay, and now I'm ready for my last piece, and you can see that my 1 inch didn't quite land on the center there, but luckily I am hitting there. So, let me go cut a piece 12.5 inches. Just so big. I may have to widen those a little bit in a sec. Look at that. Okay, I'm ready to try to lift this thing into position, and I'm working by myself. This is 17 feet long, and so I've got a couple of my little roller stands up here. The other thing I'm worried about is, look at this. That receptacle right there may be in line with my cross member right there, that little cross member. So I may be in big trouble. But anyway, I'm gonna try to lift this thing by myself and set it up there. It may be brilliant with these little supports. It may be a bust. So let's see if we can find out here. Okay, where to from here? Maybe I can lift it even. Onto that roller. Come on, baby. Don't whoop me. Dang it, that thing is crossing that receptacle. Although it's up there. Hopefully that camera's on. Once I hit start, I'm good. Well, I got the rest of my lags in there, and I did have to put a little adapter right there on that receptacle to get it to space out, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. But there is my new shelf. So that's 17 feet long. Alright, well, like I said, I have done a bunch of shelves with this design before, and they come out really, really strong, and they're very, very streamlined and low profile. So, I was really happy to get this done. I can't wait to start piling stuff on it and getting stuff out of my way and up out of the way here. So, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I guess I will go ahead and end the video here. So I've been piling stuff on this shelf, and it's been really, really handy. This is just a really nice way of building. It's really, really low profile and thin, doesn't take up a lot of space, and I think it looks really good, and it's really, really strong. So there's just a look at some of the stuff I've piled up on there. And there's my miter that I spent so much time on trying to get it to look good, and you can't even see it. But anyway, I've got some more shelves I want to put up here in the garage, and so let me know if you like this kind of smaller project type of video and you'd like to see more of these on the channel. Okay, thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. To all my subscribers, this is Sean. Please do let me know if you'd like to see more of the smaller stuff I do in between drainage jobs. So little jobs like this are a pain to make videos on, but if you'd like to see more, I can definitely start working on more of those for you all. Okay, see you on the next one.